When the time comes to make business succession plans, most private businesses will use one of three options. Pass ownership to a family member. Sell the business, maybe to a competitor, a strategic buyer, or even private equity. Or, sadly, often just close the business down and sell off the parts. But there's also a fourth option that's gaining a lot of attention lately. Forming an ESOP and selling the business to your employees. In this episode, we discuss the do's and don'ts of ESOPs.
As an employee-owned company, it's easy to understand the value of employee ownership. But we've assembled a group of professionals here today who are going to talk about why, how, and what you should do to set up your ESOP. There's always things to do. There's things not to do. Jim, tell us what are the things you should do and the things you shouldn't do when forming an ESOP.
The clearer someone is going into the process, the better the outcome is going to be. But I think the other do's are to find people to help you who are aligned with your values, who have the technical expertise, but also people who you understand and speak clearly to you about what you're trying to do and how you're going to go about doing it.
Don't rush it. Don't be a guinea pig for your advisors who've never done this before. It's complicated, but it's not rocket science. It's the kind of complexity that the normal person can figure out and understand, but there's a lot of detail to it. So you really need time to digest it and think about whether the fit is right and whether it's going to help you do for your company what you dream for your company.
When you break it down to steps, it is not as complicated as it may seem on the surface. The complexity lies in the numerous options you have, and I think that's also the beauty of the ESOP, is that you have a variety of ways to structure these transactions to accomplish a lot of objectives, and it just comes down to what are you trying to accomplish? Because we've had situations where companies have said, we would like to sell to an ESOP, but we want to give it to our management team. That's a management buyout. That's not a broad-based employee benefit plan. The don'ts would be, don't go into it too quickly. Do your homework. You've got tremendous advisors in the space that can help you get there. And understand that it's not a put in place and forget it vehicle. We work with companies not just at the initial formation of the ESOPs, but long term. You need to understand how an ESOP evolves over time. Structures can evolve with it. So it's important to know that when you put that ESOP in place, you should revisit it on a pretty periodic basis. And working with good advisors, they'll make sure you're staying on top of the best practices, the change in practices that go on within the space, and that you make sure that you've got a long-term plan in place for your employees.
Approach this the same way that you run your company. If you were going to build a plant, if you were going to enter into a major transaction, or even if you're just running your company on a day-to-day basis, approach the vetting of an ESOP the same way. Second, think about your employees. Who are your management now? Who would you like to see in certain roles in the future? And third, where would you like to be in 5 years? How do you see yourself? You can stay in the company if you'd like. You can leave right away if you'd like. You can do something in between. Because all those things inform the kind of ESOP you should do and whether you should do one.
So what about shouldn't do? What are the three things? Don't do that.
Don't worry about it. Don't worry about the ESOP, because we have more than 40 years of ESOP formation. This is tried and true. This is not something that's experimental. So simply don't worry. And any regulatory or legal or accounting types of things may be presented to you in a way so you are supposed to not understand them. Baloney. You can understand it because you built your business. How many people did that? If you could build your business and cut through red tape on a day-to-day basis and deal with problems, then you can understand an ESOP.
An ESOP may or may not be right, and often it's the process that you go through by which you come to the ultimate conclusion as to why does an ESOP really make sense. There is benefit to considering everything and then narrowing it down. And lessons learned, I would not set it and forget it. I think even in a mature ESOP, the board and the trustee has a duty to continually re-examine and tweak, if necessary, that capital structure, making sure that they are providing for the longevity and the sustainability of that organization. Trust the advisors you've selected, trust that you've done a good job with your diligence in getting to that point, and trust the process.
If you want to learn more about forming an ESOP, please contact the local chapter of the ESOP Association and consider attending a conference or event.